In this section, we'll be looking at blend. And I'll start by clicking on our Pull Blend part. Blend is located inside of the Pull tool. So let's start by looking at a few simple blends and some of their options. If I Control Select on 4 surfaces, you'll notice that 4 blend points get added to the surfaces. And under the blend options on the left side of your screen, you'll notice blend options now appear. I can blend this 3 ways. I can hold down the left mouse button and drag, and a blend will be made between those 4 surfaces. Or I could undo, and instead I'll choose blend, and I can click full pull. Full pull will also blend between those 4 surfaces and create that same solid. I'm going to undo one more time and show you the last method. As long as those red blend points are on screen, you can also hit the Enter key. That will create a blend through the points, edges, or surfaces that are selected. Now let's look at some of our blend options. I'm going to zoom into our curves on the left side of our model. Blending between surfaces will create a solid, while blending between curves or edges will create a surface. So I'm going to click and blend between those 2 curves and create a surface. But let's undo and look at another way to create this. Under blend, we have a few options. The first that we'll look at is Show Takeoff Vectors. This adds vectors that control how it takes off from one curve to the next. We can drag these takeoff vectors to change how our blend will look. Notice I can rotate these up or down. And by changing where these takeoff and return vectors are located, we'll have a different blend. Now if I click Enter, it's created a much different surface. And again, now that we have a surface, if I want to thicken this into a solid, I'll select it and drag it to thicken it. Let's look at another way to blend through edges. Here you'll notice we have 8 edges. So I'm going to select one, Control select the next, and the next, and the next. Notice it blends in that order. You never want to select them out of order. Notice then it'll start to blend through itself, and the blend won't work. So make sure you select the blend curves, blend surfaces, or blend points in the correct order. So let's try this again. I'll turn off Takeoff Vectors, and we'll select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you'll notice if I click Enter or drag, it blends through and stops at that 8th line. If you wanted to continue back to the starting point, I'll click Undo, and instead we'll look at our Periodic Blend option. By choosing Periodic Blend, you notice it blends back to the starting point. So now that I've chosen Periodic Blend, I can drag, and it creates that full blend back to the start. Now another thing we'll look at is blending through points to create a 3D curve. I'm going to right-click and hide this solid. So to blend through points, remember, select on the points and hold down the Control key to blend through them. You'll notice that the blend curve goes all the way back to the start because these options are sticky. As long as Periodic Blend is chosen, it'll blend all the way back to the starting location. Now that I've turned that off, I can blend through those points, and blending through points creates a curve. Now that we have a curve, we might want to sweep something along it. So just like we saw in our tool guide section, we can sweep something by clicking on the endpoint, making a sketch, and then sweeping that along the trajectory. I'll show you one shortcut for placing a sweep of a circle on the curve. If you select the curve, click the cylinder tool. That automatically places a cylinder along the curve. And if I type in 1 millimeter, now there's a 1 millimeter cylinder along that curve. And another thing to look at when we're blending is you can blend things with different numbers of points. So notice I'll blend our circle, Control select the back of this solid to connect them. So now I can click Enter or drag my cursor to blend through those two pieces. So the last thing we'll look at are surfaces on the right side of the screen. Now we started with surfaces, and you'll notice if I Control select them, I can now drag and blend through them to create a blended shape. Let's look at two more options. I'm going to undo, choose blend again, but what if I didn't want it to be tangent throughout the blend? I could then choose ruled segments. If I have ruled segments checked, when I make the blend, it blends straight from one surface to the next. So that removes all tangencies from the blend. I'll undo one last time, and let's say we want to make a more organic shape. So I'm going to turn off ruled segments, and instead I'm going to control the location of these blend points. You'll notice you can drag them and drop them to different corners. And notice this controls how it's going to blend. It blends from the red to the red to the red to the red. Notice I can't have these cross exactly through the center, so I have to move the red blend point by dragging it. Now it should twist up as it goes through the blend. So I'll click and drag and blend through it one last time. So in this section, I'd like you to try out the different blend options and blend through the different objects. Blend through points to create a curve, blend through edges to create a surface, and blend through surfaces to create a solid. And also use takeoff vectors, periodic blend, and ruled segments as you do this.